Oh, yeah. Oh, now I remember. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That was around that mid-August. One night, I think it was like a Friday. It was a Friday, the blackout. I didn't work that day. And I got a phone call from one Mr. Daniel Huddlestone requesting my presence and accompaniment with him to go to a cabin up north. Come on, man, let's just do it. Let's just go. And I mean, I have to work the next day and stuff, but you know, like, I was like, you know what? I haven't done nothing at all this whole summer. I haven't been up north in forever. I'm just gonna do it. I'm like, how are we gonna do this? We don't have any money. We don't have a plan. It's like, at this point, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. He's like, we'll just go. We'll get there. It takes 3.5 hours to get there. We'll just drive all night and get there in the morning. Went over Dan Pugsley's where Danny was partying and drinking and playing cards and stuff. So he came up with a brilliant plan to start stealing Dan's bottles out of the back door of his house while I sat in the living room and entertained. And then finally Dan just go like, you guys bought some bottles and stuff for money? We're like, yeah. So we started taking all those bottles. And then we started actually stealing beer out of his cooler. I'm like, yeah, man, this is going to be cool. We're going to go, you know. And then he tells me he doesn't have his license. It's suspended for a drinking charge. And I'm like, I don't know if we should do this. And he's like, yeah, come on. We're not going to get pulled over.
What did you think?
I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So this is while I'm still on probation. So if we get pulled over, I'm fucked. Like, his brake lights don't work on his car. So if we're going down the expressway and the cop sees his brake lights don't work, we're getting pulled over. Just so the guy can tell him, you know, brake lights, but he's still going to check his ID and stuff. So I'm thinking, this is crazy. But we stopped, bought some cigarettes, and we were just off. We hit 94.
What time is this?
2 o'clock in the morning. We got there we got into this area where we were at like 5:30. Finally, we got to our house, the cabin. It's like a little secluded area by a lake. And we get there, and we show up, and there's a fire still burning in the backyard. And it's just starting to break, you know. You're out there in the woods, and the light's just coming up. It's that blue feeling, you know. It's like really early in the morning, like when you first wake up, but you haven't slept all night, so it's a different feeling. Do you mind? Thanks. So we said, hey, you know what? Neither one of us are tired. Why go to bed now? Why let the party stop? Might as well just start. Might as well start to drink. You know, get drunk. 6 o'clock in the morning. We haven't done that before. Might as well do it. You know, we were up all night. So then he starts finishing off the vodka. So I start drinking Mike's Hard Lemonades. I drink like 3 of them. Then I start drinking beer. And we're like, let's go walk down to the lake. We're walking down to the lake. We're like right on the shore. And the sun's just fucking coming up. It was so fucking cool. It's summer out. You know, it's hot. Fucking like 80 degrees and humid. At this point, me and Danny have both had like 9-10 beers apiece. We're like, yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to go fishing later. We're going to bring out the paddle boat. We're going to fucking go jet skiing. You know, like they had 2 jet skis. She had property right on the lake. It was so cool. There's a dock. And like, we're like, yeah. So we're like, you know what? Let's all go out to breakfast. So we go out to breakfast and everything. And we're eating breakfast. Me and Danny are completely wasted. And we split like a Western omelet because we don't have a lot of money. So we buy one meal and split it. Today's going to be great. Today's going to be fucking awesome, you know. All pumped up, and I'm just fucking wasted, so I go stand outside and buy a Faygo, and I'm sitting there drinking a Faygo, and I'm just like this. I'm fucking like drunk off my ass. And finally they come back out, and they're like, yeah, cool, let's go. We're gonna go back, we're gonna go jet skiing and stuff. So we get back to the house. Me and Danny are still drinking outside. And
at this point, how long had you been awake?
More than 24 hours. And we go out there, and there's 2 jet skis and everything. So we're just hanging out. There's people out there and stuff, and we're just drinking on the dock and sitting on lawn chairs and fucking going swimming and fucking. It was great. It was so cool. This is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon by this time. I mean, I probably was on my 19th, 20th beer on top of the vodka. I'm not counting the vodka now. On top of the vodka, and you get to a point when you've drinking over a certain amount of time to where you don't even feel it anymore. Your body, your blood is so thin that your body's become used to it that you don't even feel drunk. You could drink beer after you get to a certain point, after you drink like that certain amount of time, when you drink like 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25 beers, you don't feel it anymore. You don't feel it at all. So you can keep drinking on forever. So we just keep drinking. We just keep drinking and drinking. And then, you know, I went on the jet ski completely wasted. And I flew off the jet ski twice because I was fucked up and I hit my tailbone. I flew like 10 feet off the fucking thing, like into the air and like into the water. It was so cool. So I go back and I call work and it was Diane and she's like, well, why can't you come in? I'm like, I just can't, okay? So I hung up the phone, you know. So then I called home and they're like, having fun? They're like, cool, you're on jet ski? Awesome, you know, like this and that. So, because I was in the water for so long, my insulin pump thing started to come off. I had my black Johnny Suede shirt. I remember Johnny Suede shirt. My pump isn't on me. My pump is separate, but the piece that stays on me is off.
Yeah.
It comes off all the time. It doesn't matter. It's disposable or anything like that. But there still is a hole.
Well, you're supposed to put it back in once it comes out, right?
No, it's disposable.
Right, but you're supposed to get a new one and hook it all up.
And you know, I mean, I'm out there and I'm fucking exercising basically, so I'm not. My blood sugar's not too high. I'm going back to the house and I just touch my shirt and I go like this and my hand is completely covered in blood. And she looks over and she goes, "Oh my god!" And my black shirt is completely soaked in a dark spot. Like I swear to God, it looked like someone stabbed me. And I'm just like, "Oh man," you know, like, "Oh Jesus!" So I pull my shirt up and it goes all over my leg and everything. I was bleeding all over the place. My blood, but it was so thin it looked like red water. Because I'm drinking so much that my blood is so thin. So I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go change." So I go back and I take a paper towel and clean everything up. And I'm not gonna go back in the water again because I don't want it to happen again. But it stopped bleeding eventually.
Were you still drinking through this?
Yeah, I still drank. And at this point, I am so incredibly tired. I don't want to admit it though, you know. So I'm just like, yeah, and I have the worst headache of my entire life because of the alcohol. Because I'm basically going through hangover stages from the earlier alcohol that I was drinking because it's going out of my system. But I'm still drinking so much that I had a bad headache while I was drunk. And we were just sitting in the backyard, and I was just like, can't do this anymore, you know. Like I'm fucking ready to die. And they're like, let's go fishing. So we go down there and we're fishing, and I caught a couple of bluegills, and we're fishing and everything. And I went back to the house, and I was just like, oh my god. So I went back, and I'm like, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm done. This is actually around like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm done. I've been drinking for like 12 hours, 13 hours straight, and I'm just like, I cannot do it anymore. I'm done. I'm just done. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bed. I have the worst headache of my life. I'm going to bed. I'll go to bed for a few hours. I'll wake up around 9. We'll hang out or whatever. So I go to bed. I wake up around 9:30. And I still have the worst headache of my life. And I'm like, I'm not getting up. I just go right back to sleep. I'm like, they turn the light on. And I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. You know, I'm going to bed. So then next thing I remember, Danny and Julie are right by the face of the bed. And they're going, Garrett, Garrett. You know, like going like this, like waking me up. So I wake up and I'm like, what? It's 2:15 in the morning. I still don't feel good, but I start drinking beer again, and I have like 4 or 5 more. And then we decided to go on a little walk out into the darkness. So we walk around these dirt roads, and we walk through the woods and stuff, and that's when I got my poison ivy. We went to bed at like 4:30 in the morning, and woke up at 11, and me and Danny had to go. I had to be to work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so we had to give ourselves time to get there. So we left, and we were stuck in traffic all the way back. I didn't get back till like 4:30. I didn't have any money left. I smoked like 2 of Danny's cigarettes on the way home. I stole a pack of cigarettes from my dad when I got home. I went to work, sweating my ass off, had poison ivy all over my legs. I was sore from riding the fucking jet ski. Totally exhausted, still full of alcohol probably. And not just that, but it was like the day after the fucking blackout, so everyone wanted pizza, so it was the busiest day of my life. And I just, I could have died. And then I couldn't move my legs for the next 3 days. Every time I woke up at night, I was like I woke up in the morning going, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to go to work going, and I couldn't even fucking move. And it was one of those things where like, they found out, by the way, that I went to the cabin, that I just called in. Because Diane called my fucking house, and my sister goes, oh, he's up north, Julie's. So I get back to work, and they're like, so, where were you and stuff? I'm like, oh, I was at the doctor or something for like a day. So then she's like, how was Julie's cabin? And I went, damn it. So they knew, and they weren't going to let up on me. So it turned out to be one of those things where I called in a day, so I couldn't recall in another day, and to go out and have fun. But when I came back, I was hurting so bad that should have been the day that I called in. So it ended up, it was terrible.
And that episode of your life is kind of like
blurry.
It's kind of like the epitome of that point in your life. But what's your opinion of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
I loved it. I was having a blast. I mean, everything I described. You know, I mean, wouldn't you love to have just been there, like in the morning, and seen the fucking forest and the fucking lake and all that other? It was great. It was great. I gotta smoke a fucking cigarette.